Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have another serious and heartbreaking confession about this particular family on how some unwanted relationship between a man and his own daughter has caused the poor girl so much. Over the weekend, I went to a funeral with a friend in his hometown. And it was this journey that I took where I got this story for you, my wonderful listeners. I got to meet the mother of this young lady who narrated to me this story about her own husband and the daughter. Get ready to be shocked, because you are about to listen to some unimaginable story. Let us go and listen to him. And please don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video so that others can listen to it.
Look, I didn't want to talk about it in the first place. Because I feel so bad and ashamed of what has happened in my family. As you can see, from the time you said you have spent here, you have not seen my husband. Yes, as it stands now, he has still not come for his drinks, but I honestly do not know if we are still married or not. But what I know is that there was this message that was sent to me and my family that we can return the drinks because he doesn't see himself marrying me again. This is after efforts were made by my family to sit down with his family and himself to see what they can do to, as it were, do something about what he had done to our daughter. But the more we went to his family, the more he kept on telling us about how he doesn't see the need to come for us to sit on the matter. He will always call through his younger brother and tell us what he wanted to tell us. Okay, if you ask what he has really done to his own daughter, I will have to start by talking about how we used to live as husband and wife with our daughter. I have 2 children with him. That are both girls, and the person I am going to talk about is the first child. When we got married, my husband Maxwell was not this aggressive and intimidating. He had this soft and cool personality that was what attracted me to him in the first place. But somehow when we got married he changed totally. He was not that loving and kind person again. This change, I must say that it didn't start right after we got married. You see, because he was an evangelist who was going out to places to spread the message of the gospel, he really was just very nice to be with. And he had this vision of having his own church and pastor the church. I supported him with all that I could during these periods of our lives. Even when we were even not married. As a woman who loves her man, and you see that he is finding things difficult to do, in terms of money. So when it happens like that, I will also give the little that I have to him, so that he will be okay. I had this provision shop that I was operating, so things were not that bad for me during these periods of our relationship. I am not saying this to suggest that he is a bad person or anything like that, but he has allowed greed and the fact that he wants world to know him has consumed him completely. And because of that, he has done things that is very wrong for a husband and a father to do to his own daughter. It all started when he returned home on a day from a crusade that they went to, and this was outside of the town we were living back then. That is the next town before you people got to this place. And because our second born was barely 2 months old, I couldn't go with him to that program. Our firstborn too was getting to about 10 years by this time that I was talking about. You see, after our first child, it took long for me to be able to conceive again. That is how come they have such a huge gap between them. When he returned back home from that program, he was unusually quiet and I didn't understand why. So I wanted to find out what happened back there. He didn't tell me anything for all those times. I wanted to find out what the issue was. I never knew that was where he met this pastor who had told him so many things about the kind of opportunities that is in the city. Going to the city as a man of God is not an issue, but he was told that he was not supposed to come over if he wanted to, with his wife and children. Because there are plenty of young ladies out there who have money and will be willing to support the pastors if only they are willing to also be having intimate relationships with them. So, when they see that you are married and all that, they try to walk away from you. So, he felt bad for marrying and having children at that time. This moodiness and quietness went on for a while and he told me that he was traveling to the city. He said a friend that he had met at the program had invited him to come over for them to go meet one senior pastor in the city. I saw it as a good thing, and so he went to the city. That was the beginning of our problems in the marriage. When he went there at first, he was calling here and there and I was also calling him. But in about a month later, he stopped calling and stopped answering my calls. The reason I didn't have any issues when he was there for over a month at first is that, saw it too. An opportunity for him to break through in the work that he is doing. And I didn't want to come across as a nagging wife. In about 2 months later, he called me and apologized for all that he did. He tried to explain to me all that happened and the reason why he was not answering my calls. But I told him not to worry about it. The most important thing is that, he said he was returning home. So he came just as he had told me. And he was extremely a happy person. I was so happy to finally get my husband back to me just as I knew him before we married. Little did I know that his coming back was more of an intentional and not because he saw the need as a husband to be with his family. He had an agenda which he needed to work towards it. After about a month that my husband returned, my daughter started distancing herself from him and always being in the room. This was not the girl that I knew. So, I wanted to find out what the problem was, but my daughter never talked. She kept on telling me at that young age that nothing was wrong with her and that she just feel like that. I wanted to take her to the hospital but her father said he would take her so I shouldn't worry myself. Weeks later, my husband told me that he wanted to return to the city because there are things that he needed to go there to do. And so, he left for the city. My brother, that was the last time I set my eyes on him. And that was also the last time he ever answered my calls. If I will get him on phone, I will have to use some other number that he doesn't know. And if he sees that it is me, he will block that number from calling him. My daughter started behaving strangely and was also falling sick. So, I took her to the hospital, and it was there that I got to know that someone has taken her virginity. I was shocked to hear that. I cried and cried, because she was young. Just about 10 years. The doctor tried to find out from her the person that did that to her, but she didn't say anything to him. The only thing she told the doctor was that she was afraid. Afraid of what too? She didn't want to say it. We came home and my mother, who she really loved, came and also tried finding out from her. It was as a result of that she told my mother that it is her own father who slept with her. And he did it 3 times with her on 3 separate nights. This was the most shocking and heartbreaking moment for us. How can Maxwell do this to me and his own child? We called and called but he didn't answer to our calls. So we took the matter to his family and they also called my daughter, who told them everything she told us. And apparently, why she didn't want to say it at first was the fact that Maxwell told her that if she ever talk about it, her mother would die. And my daughter, will also later die the same way. So because of the fear of losing me, her mother at that age, she decided to not talk about what she was going through. At that meeting, when his family called him on the phone, he told them that he has no idea of what his daughter was saying. And if I want to disgrace him like that, he does not want to continue with the marriage again. So he is no more my husband. His father honestly showed maturity that day. The way the man scolded him on the phone, he really earned a lot of respect from me. He told my family to let us not be in the issue out, we should give him time to meet with his son and have a talk with him, so we can come to a peaceful solution for what has happened. His father kept coming to our place to see how his granddaughter was feeling. He really showed how good of a person he is. After about 2 weeks, the most difficult thing happened. My daughter started behaving like he has lost it in the head at that young age. He was saying things that we couldn't understand, and started tearing things just like that. My daughter was going out of the normal. I called my mother and also called my husband's father. When they came, he suggested we take her to the hospital to see what really the problem is. And so when we took her to the hospital, he came with an idea. He said even though I might not agree to it, he is pleading with me for us to go and see these white garments pastors and see what they can say and do for the child. My mother didn't even let him finish and she said I have no choice, we will go with him. On our way, my mother asked about why his wife has not shown any sign of interest in the granddaughter's problem. This man asked my mother not to worry about her. He said that, what matters is that he, as the husband and the father to Maxwell, is here with us. When we got to the place and we told him about why we were there, he told us to give him about 30 minutes for him to do some things first. When he came back to where we were seated, he told us that, what is happening to my daughter is not for the hospital, and so we should go and bring her to his prayer center before he will continue to have any interactions with us. So we returned home and made all the necessary preparations and for my daughter from the hospital. Now when we finally brought my daughter to him, he did certain prayers for my daughter and used herbs to do certain directions. He told us one thing. He said, what he is coming to do for my daughter is going to be a fight that will be difficult in the realms. What he said was that he was going to fight the blood of the child. Which I didn't understand, so I asked him to explain his words to us. That was when he came clean with us about my husband. He said that my husband had gone to join some society in order to become powerful as a pastor. And as such, one of his rituals that he needed to do was to use someone he loves as the sacrifice. Apparently he was going to use me, but because I was a newborn mother, they ejected that sacrifice. And that is why he came for our child. So he couldn't afford to sacrifice the life of our daughter, so he took her virginity, which now causing my daughter to become insane. And the level of sacrifice that he has made is really huge. But he, as the pastor, will do all that he can to save the child. Because, when he looks at the future of my daughter, she is the one to erase suffering from the family. That is why Maxwell also used her, because sacrificing her is really, really huge in the spiritual realm. And so if he is successful, Maxwell will become one of the most influential pastors in the country. And he promised to help my daughter any way he can to bring her back to her old self. So that is where we are at the moment. We are still going to the man's prayer center every now and then. You see, when we got to know about what Maxwell had done, his father pleaded with me and my mother to not just put the case to the police right now. He begged that we seek solutions for the child first before we would do anything after that. So for the police, I should say we are yet to report the case to the police station. And we explained it to the doctor as what we intend to do for the child before we will take any further action. He has also been calling to find out what has happened to my daughter, and even came to the house to check on her. So this is what has happened that I promised to tell you. Thank you, but then, if you say you will talk about it, I hope people will be very attentive about their children. I mean, mothers should pay close attention to their children. This is my own husband doing this to his own child. Now, let us ask ourselves about the cause of so many people on the street that we say they are insane. I am hoping and praying that my daughter will be normal again as the man promised us.
Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. Indeed, I honestly do not know how to react to what has happened to the child and the entire family in general. Whatever I told the woman after having this conversation with her, I will say it here so anyone listening can also have a clue. You see, it is good that when things happen this way, you will want to find solutions for the child anyhow you know of. But one thing that you must always first do is to report matters like this to the police, so that they will help in bring some of these evildoers into book. So I asked her to report the case to the police because she is the mother of the child. The father-in-law knows what can happen, that is why he is advising against the police. I honestly pray and hope the child gets healing that she deserves. Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. Just like we always do in this house, please let us also hear from you, our beautiful family members. Let's listen to your views and concerns and comments in the comment section. Yes, just as we are here to share with ourselves what is going on out there, we do bring these conversations with you, our family members, to help their innocent brothers and sisters to realize what is happening out there, that they do not have any idea about, so that they can make their own decisions going forward in their day-to-day activities. I just hope that we honestly take the important lessons from these stories to better our lives and decisions. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.